No Slade.
Well, even more, can I just add, because he's a good friend of our show, the old pod buddy, Ollie Lawrence. I don't know if you saw him at the weekend. Yeah, 254 meters made against Saracens, 28 meters per carry, 2 try assists. He beat 11 defenders. That's apparently the second most by a centre in Prem history since like Opta-stats were first introduced. And somehow he's not in that squad. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, maybe he wants a bit more from him though.
Like what? Does he need to fucking
like
juggle or cure cancer?
Probably like a series of good games. You know what Ed Joe's like. But Ben Earl's a funky one. But thing is, there's an embarrassment of riches for sevens. But I think Ben Earl offers something a bit different to the other boys. But wow. And Daly's playing very well. Daly's playing very well. He's one of the form backs, I reckon, for Sarries at the moment. So I don't know. The mad genius continues to tinker.
He's got one in the middle. He's got
uncapped Caden Merley from Quinns.
Yeah, he's class. I've been preaching about him on the pod the whole time. He should have been in there ages ago. Bloke's a freak show. Even when Quinns are getting bummed, he does something class. Do you know what I mean? He always scores. Blokes, yeah, he's sensational. Get him in there ASAP. Triple threat, can do it all. He can run over guys, got a bit of feet, fast, clever. Yeah, he go good.
Michael, how are things going?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. I'm all right.
First up, your lads put up an incredible fight on Sunday against New Zealand. Run us through, firstly, your emotions when you guys went ahead at the start.
Yeah, we set up some good play, actually, and we got ourselves in a good position early, and we got the ball back off the kickoff. And then we got a bit of a lucky break, and we're in the right area, you know, to get a score. Look, I think in general, we've prepared pretty well. Like, I've got some good coaching talent with me. Boys are pretty well prepared around what's important for us. So it didn't surprise me that we were right in the tussle for long periods of time at different stages. I think obviously New Zealand have always going to have a little bit too much power for us in that regard. But I think around some of the fundamentals of the game, I always knew we'd be in the battle there. So it was good that it happened. I think going a man down didn't help us in the last 20 minutes. But, I was really happy with the lads. I'm not, obviously, we went out there to win the game, but it sets us up well. We started to build a bit of a house, you know what I mean? There's some foundations for the rest of the tournament.
You're in a unique position where you coach, obviously, a national rugby side in both union and league. What have you found to be the biggest differences between the players in both sports from a sort of athletic and physical point of view?
Obviously, it's a very different game physically. You know, you've got a totally different concept. The effort's still, you know, it's similar, but you've got different types of effort. You know, you've got 60 plus minutes of ball in play time going in an NRL or in a rugby league game, as opposed to sometimes sub 30 in a rugby game. You've got set pieces in a rugby game and the tussle of mauls and scrums and jumping and line outs and all that type of thing. You don't have any of that in league. But transitions in both games are extremely important. We have nearly every play is a transition in rugby. But the league transitions are extremely important as well because they set out where you're starting your sets from. So, you know, that which has a huge bearing on where you finish at last play, and last plays are really important in league. And then obviously in rugby, every ball is a contest. In league, most of your plays are more strategical. You're setting up for something, and the contest is one-on-one strip or high kick or kick on the ground at the end of the set. Is where it's possible. So there is many similarities. You know, ruck speed is key in both codes. The contact at the tackle and how that tackle cycle works, bar the 10-metre gap, is the same. So there's a lot of similarities as well. It's been unbelievably interesting and very, 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 very fortunate to be a part of it, to be honest.
What do you think's easier for a league player? Sorry, hi Mike, how's it going? What do you reckon it's easier for the union player to go to league or league to union?
I don't think one's easier than the other. Obviously, union has the only real technical things around perhaps lineouts.
Yeah, the set piece, yeah.
loose used to, and definitely the front row part of the game.
Mm.
But I think it comes down to like a player's understanding of both codes, and more importantly, probably desire to make the change. And well, it's almost a little bit like learning a new language. If you really want to do it, you'll do the bits and pieces. You'll be prepared to go out on a limb and make the errors that you need to, embarrass yourself sometimes trying to ask for a meal or a beer or something in a pub, or ask a girl out or something like that. You'll make those errors, and in the transition between games, you've got to be prepared to make some mistakes to learn what you do. I think probably one of the greatest case in point was Sam Burgess, where I feel like they wrecked the poor fella's head, you know what I mean? Because they had him playing one position in one team, another position in another team. That guy could have been an absolute weapon, right? Just what a footballer. And the biggest thing about Sam, I know him, from back in the day, particularly when he was, talking about crossing back over, was that he wanted it. He wanted to make the move. He was eager to learn and make the move. And I found the same with guys like Marika, Korobete, and obviously Israel when he first came over.
What would you have done with Sam Burgess yourself?
Oh, back rower. Yeah. Just don't worry about his stuff, mate. Just go and run hard and tackle hard. You know what I mean? When there's a ruck, that's what he's really good at. And enjoy that instead of the nuances of the backs, like just nice blindside back row, have a rest here, mate. And then when you get the ball, you just charge in there and do what you do, play footy.
All right, guys, we've got one for all three of you. A couple of weeks ago, Sam Tompkins said that Owen Farrell would be the best league player in the world. So it sort of got us thinking at Rugby Pass, if you could pick a player each who's only played union, never played league, but could be world class, who would you pick?
Oh, wow. I can think of a few straight away.
Who's the first one?
Marcus Kremer will go pretty well in there somewhere. Like that guy knows how to run, tackle hard. Samu Karevi, he's got sideways movement as well. So he's got good lateral movements, which you need. You need to have that. There's a lot of reading off in league, because of the way they defend. So you've got to have good sideways movement. And he's got great ball carry, footwork, and an offload. Matera wouldn't go too bad in that game either, just quietly. I think he'd, and there's a few halfbacks who'd probably be sneaky around the dummy half as well. I think crossing over, if I think about it like that. But there's plenty of players. Courtney Laws, I think, could do it. Like, he's a bigger body, he's a tall body, but he could be quite awkward. I reckon he's got a great work ethic. I think there's a lot of good players out there that could make. I think the switch. It's just like I said, if you're a talented player and you're open to the idea of making the move and changing course, you'd be good at it.
Max, what's your rugby league?
Oh, I reckon I'd have mine would be like rolling subs. The big boys, you just get them on and off. Probably I think Manu Tuilangi would go very well. I also think Ellis Genge would be a good prop forward as well. I think he gets through quite a lot of carries in the union game. I think he'd go quite well there. Those would be just off the top of my head right now, but I think they'd get through some good work there.